Hey everybody, it's Jim with the Board Game Mechanics, and today we're going to play through a few rounds of Lawyer Up Season 2, and we're going to be doing the case number 4, Murder in the First. There's a little backstory card if you want to read through all that. I'm not going to do that, but I'm just going to talk about setup. I've already done all the setup, but I want to run through it. If you want to know what our thoughts are on the game, components and all that stuff, you can check the link in the video description. Also, we looked at Season 1. We'll put a link into that in the video description or up in the eye or at the end screen, wherever. But in this one, we're just going to look at case number 4, kind of what you can expect in this box, and we'll talk about all the differences and stuff in the review video if you want to watch that. All right, so to set up, this one's a little more involved than some of the others. First thing you're going to do is you're going to get a judge. There's 4 or 5 different judges in the box. I actually grabbed one from Season 1 because I mixed all mine together because the box is quite large. And you're going to get, the judges are relevant. You're going to put it on the prosecution side. In this one, you're going to have 6 jurors favoring the prosecution on the top, 6 jurors favoring the defense on the bottom. And you're also going to be putting a red herring, randomly, a red herring token on the leftmost space of all of the cards, which I have done. Okay. Then you're going to shuffle the murder weapons, crime scenes, culprits. Take one of each of them out and just put them off to the side. That is what the defense is trying to figure out. They're trying to figure out which one of these things. There's 4 of each. There's 5 of each. But you're trying to figure out which thing is not here. And once you can do that, you know what the culprit is. Okay? All right, so I think that's the case. Wait, hang on. Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right, then, so you're going to have those piles just off to the side. You're going to have a deck of allies that you'll shuffle. In this one, you're going to give the defense 1 ally. I have Mike DeLizio. You're going to shuffle the rest of the witnesses. You're going to, and then you're going to give the defense 1 of the defendants. They're going to be kind of your private investigator, and you're also going to be able to call them as a witness, which we'll get to later. And this awesome little detective notebook, which I have here. All of these investigation tokens, 3 objections, 1 sidebar. They're going to get 3 objections, a sidebar. We're each going to get one of these special procedures that we have. In this scenario, the prosecution will get 2 claimed witnesses. They have these 2 witnesses. One's a patsy, one's a co-conspirator. That'll make sense in a little bit. Then, according to the setup here, you're going to put out this pyramid of witnesses. You're going to have some patsies, co-conspirators, and a ringleader. Okay? I put them like this just to save some room. You normally want to see what's on the bottom, but just we're only going to get to the bottom here, so it doesn't matter. Then what's going to happen is there's going to be a deck of 60 cards left. Okay. What's going to happen is, in turn order, starting with whoever has the favor, so the prosecutor, you're going to draw 3 cards from the deck. You're going to keep 1. You're going to give 1 to the defendant, and you're going to bury 1 in the buried evidence deck. So at the end of this, you're going to start with your starting deck of 26 cards plus 20 more. So 46 cards will look like this in this nice fat deck of cards here. And there'll be 20 cards in the buried evidence. Okay. So we all start with the same deck, but they change as we're building our deck from the shared pile here from the case. All right. Now we're ready to play. The game is pretty simple. Okay. On your turn, you're going to, someone's going to start a trial. And the person who's going to start a trial has the favor of the witness. So in this case, it's prosecution. So what they're going to do is they're going to take one of the bottom 3 patsies here, and they're going to put it in the center of the table for us to start examining, questioning, and all that kind of thing. Okay? So let's just go ahead. I think they're going to take this one. Okay? One other thing we each have to do is we have to draw 5 cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are mine. And they will draw 5 as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And these will be theirs. Okay. Now they draw this. Now they get to put this on whichever side they want. They can spin it this way or they can spin it this way. Now, why does that matter? The prosecution is trying to get more influence, which is red P's, than me having D's or N's. So a neutral can count for both parties. A prosecution can only count for prosecution. Defense can only count for defense. That's going to be important for swaying jurors at the end of the case. So in this case, they're going to put their 2 on their side because that gives them 2 influence. And we can keep track here as a running total just so you don't have to think about it. And there's a neutral on this side, so I now have 1. So it's 2 to 1 right now. Okay. Then what's going to happen is when this is called, they get to draw 1 card from their opponent's hand. So they get to take one of my cards. They'll take this one. And then they get to draw a card. So I'm drawing a card. All right. So now the witness is called. Prosecution gets to start questioning the witness because they called them. And the way that works is you're going to be playing a card. Cards are going to look something like this. Let me just get one out here. They're going to have some icons at the top, an influence ability, and some kind of special ability down at the bottom. Now there's arguments, there's evidence, there's weapons planted, and there's procedures. A procedure will be played in front of you to use as an action later, or you can use it in your examination to get more symbols. Now why do the symbols matter? If you look on this card, there's a magnifying glass, a knowledge, and a thumb. In order to play a card to your examination, it has to match at least one of those symbols. So we're going to go ahead and play that. So that gives them 6. So they now have 2, and they get 4 more, so they now have 6 influence. All right. Then they get to do what the card says. Gain the judge's favor, then immediately take... Ooh, never mind. They don't want to play that. They already have the judge's favor, so they don't need to do that. So let's get rid of that 4 there. Back to 2. Let's read the cards before we start playing them. Let's just go ahead and play this one. All right, so we're going to play this one. It has to have at least a brain, and I have one. Doesn't give me any influence for that. But down here it says +2 value for each knowledge card in your examination. I have 1, so I would get 2 knowledge. So I'm up to 4. Not as good as a 6, but not bad. Now it's my turn. I'm going to do the same thing. But I have a couple different things that I'm able to do. And hopefully I'll be able to show you those quickly here. Ooh, I'm actually going to do something else. So on your turn, you can play a card here. You can play a procedure in front of you. You can do a sidebar, which I'm going to do right now. You can flip this. That turns the judge's favor in your direction. And then you get to draw a card. And you can also... What else can I do? Pass, if you want to. You don't want to do that until you absolutely necessary. So that's my turn. I did one of those things. So back to this player. They're going to... Let me move some of these cards, so I'm not going to play that right now. So we'll just do that. All right, so prosecution is playing again. They will... Man, they don't want to play any of their cards. This stinks. All right, they'll play this one. Again, no base influence, but it has scales of justice, +2 value for each scale card that you have played. So 2, 4, so they go up 4. So they're now at 8. All right, done. Back to me. All right, sweet. So now what I want to do is I'm going to do a special action that only the defense can do. So again, I got to match icons, okay? Notice I have all these cool little tokens here. I have a special action I can do. It's called investigate. So I can either investigate, sometimes it's investigate or slash. If it's a neutral card, there'll be an examine. But so investigate, I'm going to take one of these tokens. I'm going to cover up the value of this in. So it doesn't give me any influence, okay? But what it's going to allow me to do is going to allow me to investigate one of these piles of cards based on the symbols that I played. I got to decide which one I want to pick, and I'm going to pick this one. So I get to use all these symbols. So I get a magnifying glass, a thumb, a scale, and a skull. So this one has a magnifying glass and a thumb. There's nothing else, so I can put 2 of them on my ally, which will let me activate him in a future turn. Now, I've claimed this proof because it is full. And I have a murder weapon, the revolver. Whenever you reveal this, you're going to see a setback. That's something bad that's going to happen. So I have to shuffle my hand into my deck, then draw that many cards -1. So I have 5 cards. Shuffle them back in. Then I'm just basically going to draw 5 and discard 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll discard this one. So we discard that. Here's my hand. And then the revolver is not the murder weapon. So then I take one of these magnifying glasses and I'm going to put it on the revolver right there. So I know the revolver is not the card that's been taken out. Okay. And then this just gets discarded. Kind of put it up there so you know. And that's my turn. All right. Now it is the prosecution's turn. They are going to... They're actually just going to go ahead and play this card now. I tried to play earlier. So they're going to go up 4. So that brings them to 12. Okay, 12. And they gain the judge's favor, and then they have to pass. Okay, and they're passing. Now, when they pass, I get one more action to do stuff on my turn to make stuff work. Okay, so I need to get some good value here. So let's do this because I'm going to show you something else. So I'm going to play this. I'm not going to use the investigation action. I'm just going to do 3. So I'm at 4 influence. But let me talk about this. If I did use the investigation here, it says unless the prosecution conspires with a co-conspirator. So there's 2 ways you can conspire. If the person's on the witness stand, which in this case it's a patsy, you could just conspire with them and be good. Or any witnesses that you've won from here, if you have a co-conspirator, which in this case they do, they could discard it to keep me from doing the thing down here. Okay, I still get to do the investigate, but I don't get to do this other thing because they blocked me. All right, so it's either here or one that they have in front of them that matches the criteria. And that's the end of the game, the round. They passed. Whenever they pass, the other player gets one more turn. So then what we're going to do is we are going to look at a couple things. If you have any victory cards face up on the bottom of your deck here, you're going to do them. I didn't get a victory, so it's irrelevant. But this one says victory for the prosecution. They get to sway 1 brain juror. So up here, the jurors, they're going to sway one of them in their direction. I think they're going to go this way. When you push off one of these tokens, it comes down here onto one of these cards down here to make it harder for the defense to check it out. It can't have that symbol already, so I can't put it on this one because that has a thumb, but I can put it on this one. So now in order to look at this, I need a thumb, a scale, and a brain. Okay, it makes it harder for the defense. So that's good. Now, we did that. They win the witness, so they now have another witness. Okay. Then you're going to look at their influence compared to my influence. And they have 12 minus 4. They have 8. Okay. So what they're going to do is they're going to be able to sway jurors up to 8 points. And a point is, the cost to sway a juror is the number on the card. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to sway this one. They have 2 left. So let's go ahead and sway this one. Okay, now that's a round. Now how's the game end? The game will end in a couple ways. If all of the witnesses are called, we go into closing statements. And that's going to allow the prosecution to get 3 influence points based on all the witnesses that they've claimed and try to sway jurors one more time. Or it's going to end if they have all of the jurors on the red section, so the 2 to the left. The game will immediately end. The defense will win if they can guess these 3 cards by doing their investigations over here. They can have 2 guesses throughout the game. Second one, if they don't get it, they lose. Or if when the game is done after closing statements, they have at least 1 juror in the blue. That's all they have to do, 1 juror in the blue. Guess the crime scene or 1 juror in the blue, and they are good. So to finish up this round, any cards that you have in your hand that you don't want to play, well, first all these cards get discarded. Your dials will get set back to 0. Just slide those down. Whoever didn't win the witness gets the favor, so it wasn't red, so blue did not win, so they get the favor. Then they get to pick the next witness, so they can pick either of these two, so they will go ahead and do that. And then any of the cards you have in your hand, you can decide if you want to keep them or discard them, and then you draw back up to 5. Now, the game is going to get harder. You can't shuffle through your deck, so once they're gone, they're gone. So you're trying to balance when you're drawing cards, when you're keeping them, and all that kind of thing. Tricky puzzle. So maybe they want to keep all their cards and just draw 2 more. That's fine. I want to just draw 2 more. That's fine with me as well. And then we're going to do all that again, and we're going to keep going until all the witnesses are gone, or we can't play anymore, like the decks run out. Then we'll just see the win conditions. Let's see who wins. And that is how you play Lawyer Up Case 4, Murder in the First. Now, what are the items that I was looking for? I was looking for Walter, Samantha, the docks, and bare hands. That's what I was trying to guess from my investigation, trying to deduce what those 3 cards were so I could win. All right. But that's it. Yep. If you wanted to check out what we think about the game, how it compares to Season 1, click the link in the video description. Otherwise, I'm Jason with the Board Game Mechanics, and as always, thanks for watching and keep gaming.